All right, buckle up, because today we're whisking you away to the jewel of Pakistan, Gilgit Baltistan.
Okay.
I know you're thinking another travel destination,
Yeah.
but trust me,
Right.
this one's different.
Yeah.
We've got excerpts and notes here
Mm-hmm.
that suggest it's not just a feast for the eyes,
Yeah.
but a place where cultures collide
Yeah.
and nature throws some seriously epic challenges,
Oh, yeah.
ready to uncover what makes this region so unique.
Absolutely. Gilgit Baltistan isn't just about pretty pictures.
Right.
It's a region shaped by powerful forces,
Yeah.
geographically, culturally, and even in terms of how tourism is changing its very fabric.
So first things first, where even IS this place?
Okay.
I'm picturing mountains, obviously.
Sure.
But help me fill in the map a bit.
Okay, picture this. You're in the northernmost tip of Pakistan,
Okay.
nudged right up against Afghanistan to the west,
Mm-hmm.
China to the north and east,
Okay.
and Indian-administered Jammu and Kashmir to the south. It's a real crossroads, and that plays a huge role in its identity.
Talk about location, location, location. Right.
Yeah.
And I know from the source material
Yes.
that we're not just talking hills here.
Oh, no.
We're talking giants.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Gilgit Baltistan is home to some of the most formidable peaks on the planet.
Right.
K2, the second highest mountain in the world,
Wow.
holds court here,
Mm-hmm.
alongside Nanga Parbat and Rakaposhi.
Wow.
Just let those names sink in for a second.
I'm getting vertigo just thinking about it. But even I know
Sure.
a region isn't defined solely by its mountains.
Right.
What else does this landscape throw at you?
Well, imagine lush green valleys carved by glacial rivers.
Okay.
Picture meadows carpeted with wildflowers.
Yeah.
And then in the blink of an eye,
Yeah.
you're staring at a glacier
Wow.
that's been slowly grinding its way through the landscape for millennia.
Yeah.
It's a place of dramatic contrasts,
Right.
which is probably why it draws those seeking adventure AD serenity.
All right. Okay. I'm starting to see why they call it the jewel of Pakistan.
Mm-hmm.
But from the research you've done, it's not just the views that are diverse, right?
Right.
The people also paint a pretty fascinating picture.
What's fascinating about Gilgit Baltistan is that it's not a monolithic culture.
Right.
You've got the Shaina, the Balti, the Waki, the Burusho,
Wow.
each with their own language, customs, and festivals.
Right.
It's like a living, breathing museum of cultural heritage.
Now, I'm a sucker for a good festival.
Yeah.
And one in the source material really caught my eye, the Chandra Polo Festival.
Oh, yeah.
Horses galloping at high altitude.
Mm-hmm.
It's almost poetic.
It's not just a spectacle, though.
Right.
The Chandra Polo Festival speaks volumes about the spirit of the people who live here.
Oh, wow.
Imagine, for centuries, they've been navigating this rugged terrain,
Yeah.
braving harsh weather, and yet they still find time to celebrate, to compete, to connect with their heritage.
Yeah.
It's a testament to their resilience and their deep connection to the land.
Okay, color me intrigued.
Sure.
But let's be real.
Right.
Most people hearing Gilgit Baltistan are thinking travel destination.
Mm-hmm.
And from our source material, it seems like they're not wrong.
Yeah.
This place is a tourism magnet.
It absolutely is.
Yeah.
And the diversity of what it offers is mind-blowing. We're
Right.
talking everything from extreme mountaineering
Yeah.
to gentle nature walks,
Mm-hmm.
from exploring ancient Buddhist rock carvings to experiencing vibrant local festivals.
Yeah.
There's literally something for everyone.
All right, let's break down those options a bit.
Okay.
For the adventurer in all of us,
Hmm.
what are the big draws?
Well, if you're a seasoned climber, K2 is obviously the ultimate challenge.
Well, of course.
But even if you're more of a trekking enthusiast, there are incredible options. Fairy Meadows, leading to Nanga Parbat Base Camp, is world-renowned for a reason.
Now, you know I'm a wildlife nerd,
Yes.
and I saw Deosai National Park described as the land of giants. Spill the tea. What kind of creatures are we talking about?
Deosai is this incredible high-altitude alpine plain
Yeah.
that's home to some truly remarkable species.
Okay.
We're talking Himalayan brown bears,
Okay.
the elusive snow leopard.
Oh, wow.
Imagine catching a glimpse of that.
Yeah.
Ibex practically dancing across the cliffs.
Wow.
It's a wildlife photographer's paradise for sure.
Adding it to my bucket list as we speak.
I can imagine.
But I know Gilgit Baltistan has more to offer than just mountains and wildlife.
Right.
What about those ancient cultures you mentioned?
Yeah.
What's there to see for a history buff?
Well, imagine yourself transported back in time,
Okay.
standing before ancient Buddhist rock carvings
Mm-hmm.
that whisper tales of a bygone era.
Wow.
Then picture yourself exploring the majestic forts,
Okay.
Altit and Baltit in Hunza, Shigar Fort in Skardu,
Right.
each a testament to the region's strategic importance and its rich history.
Yeah.
It's a history lover's dream, really.
And let's not forget those adrenaline junkies out there.
No.
Rock climbing, whitewater rafting, paragliding.
Mm-hmm.
It sounds like an adventure playground, honestly.
It really is.
Yeah.
The diverse landscapes lend themselves perfectly to all sorts of thrilling activities.
Yeah.
Imagine yourself rafting down the Indus River,
Mm-hmm.
dwarfed by towering canyon walls.
Wow.
Or picture the feeling of soaring high above the Hunza Valley,
Yeah.
paragliding with the eagles.
Oh my gosh.
It's the kind of place that pushes you to your limits and rewards you with unforgettable experiences.
And for those of us who'd rather capture the beauty through a lens,
Mm-hmm.
photographic tours seem like a no-brainer,
Right.
especially in autumn.
Right.
Right.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The autumn colors in Hunza Valley are legendary.
All right.
The contrast of fiery reds and golden yellows against the backdrop of snow-capped peaks is simply breathtaking.
Yeah.
It's a visual feast that would make any photographer's heart sing.
So we've covered everything from extreme adventures to peaceful contemplation.
Yeah.
But no deep dive is complete without addressing the realities on the ground.
Right. Of course.
What about the challenges this region faces?
That's a crucial point.
Yeah.
All this beauty and opportunity comes with a responsibility to protect it. And that's where things get complicated.
Right.
Gilgit Baltistan is facing some serious challenges,
Yeah.
particularly when it comes to balancing the benefits of tourism
Right.
with the need for environmental and cultural preservation.
All right, let's unpack that a bit.
Sure.
What are the specific challenges that jump out from the research you've done?
Well, one of the biggest is infrastructure development.
Okay.
While it's essential for supporting tourism,
Right.
it needs to be done sustainably,
Mm.
with minimal impact on the environment and local communities.
Right.
We're talking about things like responsible road construction,
Yeah.
waste management systems,
Yeah.
and ensuring that development benefits everyone,
Mm.
not just a select few.
It's about walking that tightrope between progress and preservation, isn't it? Making sure development doesn't come at the expense of what makes this place so special.
That's it.
And then, of course, there's the issue of environmental impact.
Yes.
Increased tourism means more foot traffic, more waste,
Yeah.
more demand on resources.
Absolutely.
It's a delicate balance,
It is.
and it requires a conscious effort from everyone involved.
Mm-hmm.
Tourists, tour operators, local communities, and the government.
Yes. Everyone.
Speaking of local communities,
Right.
their role in all of this seems vital.
It is.
It's their home, after all.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Their involvement is crucial. They're the ones who know the land best,
Right.
who understand the cultural nuances,
Yeah.
who are ultimately responsible for shaping the future of their region.
So before we get too deep into solutions,
Yeah.
let's make this practical for our listener.
Okay.
What should someone know before packing their bags for Gilgit Baltistan?
Okay.
What are the essential travel tips?
Well, first off, timing is key. The best time to visit is between May and October,
Okay.
when the weather is most favorable
Right.
and the roads are accessible.
Right.
But remember, even then,
Yeah.
you're in a mountainous region.
Yeah.
So pack for all kinds of conditions.
It goes without saying.
Right.
But respect for local customs is paramount,
Oh, absolutely.
especially in a region with a more conservative cultural setting.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Dress modestly,
Yeah.
be mindful of your behavior, and always ask permission before taking photos, especially of people.
Right.
It's all about being a respectful guest, not just a tourist.
This has been a fantastic overview,
It has.
but it feels like we've only just scratched the surface.
Yeah.
Where do we go from here?
Well, we've laid the groundwork,
Yeah.
highlighted the beauty and the challenges.
Right.
Now we need to dive deeper into those challenges.
Okay.
Next time, we'll be tackling the environmental concerns head-on, exploring the impact of climate change, deforestation, and waste management on this fragile ecosystem.
Sounds like a must listen. Join us for part 2. We'll confront the tough questions and explore how sustainable tourism can help protect this extraordinary region for generations to come.
It'll be good.
Yeah. Welcome back to our deep dive into Gilgit Baltistan.
Right?
Last time we were swept away by those majestic mountains, those vibrant cultures.
Yes,
It's easy to get caught up in the romance of it all.
it is. But as we hinted at,
Right.
there's a more somber side to this story,
Mm-hmm.
a side that's inextricably linked to those very things that make Gilgit Baltistan so captivating.
Right, the environmental challenges.
Yeah.
It's like a shadow hanging over this paradise.
Yeah.
And from the research you've done, it seems like climate change is a big part of that.
It's the elephant in the room, so to speak.
Right.
This region with its high-altitude ecosystems
Yeah.
is incredibly sensitive to shifts in temperature and precipitation.
Mm-hmm.
What we're seeing is glaciers melting at an alarming rate,
Right.
which has all sorts of cascading effects.
Okay, break that down for me.
Okay.
What does that actually look like on the ground?
Well, imagine a lake forming at the foot of a glacier.
Yeah.
Fed by meltwater.
Okay.
As the glacier shrinks, that lake can become unstable.
Right.
And if it breaches its natural dam,
Yeah.
that's when you get a glacial lake outburst flood, or GLF.
A GLOF.
Yeah.
Okay, that sounds terrifying.
They can be utterly devastating.
Wow.
Imagine a wall of water, ice, and debris
Oh my God.
surging down a valley,
Yeah.
wiping out villages, infrastructure, farmland.
Wow.
It's a very real threat for communities living downstream from these glacial lakes.
It's a stark reminder that climate change isn't some abstract concept.
Right.
It's having a tangible impact on people's lives right now.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's not just the ice that's melting.
Right.
The research also highlighted deforestation as a major concern.
Oh, right.
Yeah.
Trees are pretty important for, well, everything.
They are vital.
Yeah.
They regulate the climate,
Mhm.
prevent soil erosion,
Right.
provide habitat for wildlife.
Yeah.
But in Gilgit Baltistan,
Yeah.
people rely heavily on wood for fuel and construction.
Right.
Add in illegal logging,
Yeah.
and you've got a recipe for rapid deforestation.
So it's a double whammy.
Right.
We lose the forests that help mitigate climate change.
Yeah.
And we increase the risk of things like landslides and soil erosion,
Mhm.
which just compounds the problem.
Precisely.
And then there's the issue of waste management,
Yeah,
which, let's face it, isn't the most glamorous topic, but it's crucial.
it is.
Yeah, especially when you're dealing with a pristine environment that's suddenly seeing an influx of tourists.
Right.
Yeah,
More people means more trash.
right.
And if that trash isn't properly managed,
Yeah,
it ends up polluting waterways,
Right.
harming wildlife,
yeah.
and ultimately degrading the very beauty that attracts people in the first place.
Like a classic case of loving it to death.
It's like this tangled web, isn't it?
Yeah.
Climate change, deforestation, waste management,
Mm.
they all feed into each other,
Yeah.
impacting not just the environment,
Yeah.
but also the people who rely on it for their livelihoods.
That's the key takeaway here.
Yeah.
These aren't just abstract environmental problems.
Right.
They have real-world consequences for the people of Gilgit Baltistan.
Right.
Their way of life, their culture, their very survival
Mm-hmm.
is intertwined with the health of this ecosystem.
So where do we go from here?
Well,
Is there any hope for a more sustainable future for Gilgit Baltistan?
there is hope, but it requires a shift in mindset,
Okay.
a commitment to action from all stakeholders. We're talking about the government, local communities, NGOs, tourists.
Yeah.
Everyone has a role to play.
Let's get specific.
Okay.
What are some of the things being done to address these challenges?
Well, in terms of climate change, there's a growing focus on adaptation strategies. Okay. This means acknowledging that some level of change is inevitable
Right.
and helping communities prepare for the impacts.
So instead of just trying to stop climate change entirely, we're
Yeah.
helping people adapt to the new reality.
Exactly.
Yeah.
This could include things like early warning systems for GLOFs,
Right.
promoting water conservation techniques,
Yeah.
and developing climate-resilient agricultural practices. It's about equipping communities with the tools and knowledge to navigate a changing world.
What about mitigation?
Yeah.
Are there any efforts to reduce emissions and slow down climate change?
There are some promising initiatives focusing on renewable energy.
Yeah.
Gilgit Baltistan has huge potential for hydropower, given all those glacial rivers, and solar power is also gaining traction. These are positive steps towards a cleaner energy future.
Okay, so we're seeing some movement on the climate front.
Right.
What about deforestation? How do you even begin to tackle a problem as complex as illegal logging?
It's a tough one for sure,
Yeah.
but there are organizations working to promote sustainable forestry practices,
Okay.
encouraging communities to manage their forests responsibly.
Right.
There are also reforestation efforts underway,
Mm-hmm.
planting trees to restore degraded areas.
But it's not just about planting trees, right? It's about changing attitudes,
Yeah.
finding alternative sources of fuel,
Mhm.
and ensuring that local communities benefit from sustainable forest management.
You hit the nail on the head.
Yeah.
It's about empowering communities to be stewards of their own resources,
Right.
to see the long-term value in protecting their forests.
And what about waste management?
Yeah.
Are there any initiatives to clean up the existing mess and prevent things from getting worse?
Thankfully, yes.
Okay.
There's a growing awareness of the importance of responsible waste management.
Mm-hmm.
We're seeing programs to improve waste collection and disposal systems,
Okay.
promote recycling,
Right.
and even encourage composting.
Yeah.
It's a multi-pronged approach, really.
Really?
And engaging tourists in these efforts seems crucial, right?
Yes!
After all, they're part of the equation.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Educating tourists about responsible travel practices is key.
Mm-hmm.
Things like packing out your trash,
Right.
using refillable water bottles,
Right.
and being mindful of your overall impact can make a big difference.
Yeah.
It's about shifting the mindset from leave no trace to leave a positive trace.
So it's not just about minimizing harm,
Right.
but about actively contributing to the well-being of the environment and the communities that call it home.
Exact.
That's a pretty powerful concept.
It is.
Yeah.
And it leads us to an even bigger question.
Okay.
Can tourism, instead of being part of the problem,
Right.
actually be a catalyst for positive change?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And it's one we'll be exploring in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll be digging into the concept of sustainable tourism,
Right.
looking at real-world examples of how it's being implemented in Gilgit Baltistan, and considering how travelers can be part of this positive movement. Welcome back to the deep dive. We've journeyed through those incredible landscapes,
Right.
explored the rich cultural tapestry of Gilgit Baltistan,
Yes.
and confronted the harsh realities of the environmental challenges it faces. But now
Yeah.
it's time for a little bit of hope,
Absolutely.
would you say?
We've talked about the problems,
Right.
but thankfully there are people working on solutions.
Yeah.
And that's where sustainable tourism comes in.
Okay.
It's not just a buzzword.
Right.
It's a movement, a philosophy,
Mm-hmm.
a way of doing tourism that benefits everyone involved.
Right.
The environment, the local communities, and the travelers.
Okay. So it's not just about minimizing harm.
Right.
It's about actively doing good.
It is.
Sign me up.
Well,
But what does that actually look like on the ground
okay.
in a place like Gilgit Baltistan?
Well, one of the most exciting trends is the rise of community-based tourism initiatives.
Okay.
Imagine, instead of big corporations swooping in, you have local communities taking ownership of their tourism industry.
So we're talking locally run guest houses,
Yes.
trekking companies,
Mhm.
things like that.
Exactly. It could be homestays,
Right.
where you experience the warmth and hospitality of a local family,
Hmm.
or community-guided tours that share authentic insights into the culture and the environment.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about ensuring that tourism revenue stays within the community,
Right.
supporting local livelihoods and preserving their way of life.
So that's a far cry from those massive resorts that often feel disconnected from the communities they're built in.
Right.
What other examples of sustainable tourism are making a difference in Gilgit Baltistan?
Well, eco-friendly accommodations are becoming increasingly popular.
Go ahead.
Think solar-powered lodges nestled in the mountains,
Mm-hmm.
guest houses that prioritize water conservation and waste reduction,
Right.
even hotels incorporating traditional building techniques and materials.
So it's not just about minimizing impact. It's about celebrating local culture and architectural heritage as well.
Yes.
That's a nice touch.
It's a way of showcasing the unique beauty of the region while also minimizing the environmental footprint.
Mhm.
And speaking of footprints,
Yeah.
there's a growing emphasis on responsible trekking and mountaineering,
Right.
especially given the sensitive high-altitude ecosystems.
Right, because those activities can have a big impact,
Yes.
especially if not done responsibly.
Yeah.
What are some of the best practices being implemented?
Well, there are initiatives to educate trekkers and climbers about leave no trace principles,
Okay.
which emphasize minimizing waste, respecting wildlife, and traveling responsibly. Some tour operators even organize cleanup expeditions to remove trash from popular trails.
That's awesome. So it's not just about preventing future damage,
Right.
but also cleaning up past mistakes.
Yeah.
Feels like there's a real collective effort here.
There is, and it's inspiring to see that it's not just coming from the top down.
Yeah.
Local communities are often leading the charge, recognizing that protecting their environment and their culture is in their best interest.
Right.
They're the ones who will have to live with the consequences of unsustainable practices after all.
That makes so much sense.
Yeah.
But let's bring this back to our listener.
Okay.
What can travelers do to support this sustainable tourism movement?
Right.
How can we ensure that our visits to Gilgit Baltistan are a force for good, not just another source of stress on the region?
That's the million-dollar question. And the good news is
Yeah.
there's a lot you can do.
Okay.
First off, do your research.
All right.
Choose tour operators and accommodations that have a proven track record of sustainable practices.
Okay.
Look for certifications, read reviews, ask questions.
So it's about being an informed consumer,
Yes,
making sure our money is supporting businesses that align with our values.
exactly. Once you're there,
Yeah.
be mindful of your consumption habits.
Okay.
Reduce waste, conserve water and energy, and try to avoid single-use plastics as much as possible.
Right.
These are small actions,
Yeah.
but they add up,
Right.
especially when multiplied by thousands of tourists.
It's about recognizing that our individual choices have an impact, even when we're on vacation.
Exactly.
And in a place like Gilgit Baltistan, where culture and traditions are so deeply intertwined with daily life,
Yeah,
it's crucial to be respectful.
it is.
Dress modestly, ask permission before taking photos,
Great.
especially of people,
Yeah,
and learn a few basic phrases in the local language.
it's a good idea.
It's about being a guest, not just a consumer.
Absolutely.
What about supporting the local economy?
Yeah,
Are there specific things travelers can do beyond just spending money at hotels and restaurants?
absolutely. Seek out locally owned businesses.
Okay.
Buy handicrafts directly from artisans.
Mm-hmm.
Consider visiting community-run markets.
Yeah.
It's a way of ensuring that your money goes directly to the people who live there, supporting traditional crafts and preserving cultural heritage.
And speaking of preservation,
Yeah,
be a conscious consumer.
right.
Avoid purchasing products made from endangered species or materials that contribute to environmental degradation.
Yes, that's important.
It's a reminder that our purchases have an impact that extends far beyond the moment of transaction. They can contribute to the preservation of both cultural heritage and the natural environment.
It's all connected.
And finally, and this is perhaps the most important thing you can do,
Okay.
be an advocate for sustainable tourism.
Yes.
Talk about your experiences. Share what you've learned.
Yeah,
Encourage others to travel responsibly.
right.
The more we spread the word,
Yeah.
the more we normalize these practices,
Yeah,
the greater the impact we can have.
absolutely.
So it's not just about what we do while we're traveling.
Right.
It's about how we share our experiences and inspire others to follow suit. What a powerful message to end on. This deep dive into Gilgit Baltistan has been a real roller coaster.
It has.
From those awe-inspiring landscapes to the sobering environmental challenges, and now to this glimmer of hope that sustainable tourism can offer.
It's a reminder that travel can be more than just a vacation.
Yeah.
It can be an opportunity to learn, to grow, and to make a positive contribution to the world.
Right.
Gilgit Baltistan, with all its beauty and its challenges,
Yeah.
is a microcosm of the larger issues facing our planet. It's a
Yeah.
reminder that our choices matter
Yeah.
and that we all have a role to play in creating a more sustainable future.
So to our listener, as you plan your next adventure, consider the impact you want to have.
Yeah.
Choose destinations that prioritize sustainability. Support local communities.
Yeah.
Minimize your environmental footprint.
Right.
And most importantly, be an advocate for responsible travel. Together, we can ensure that the beauty of our planet and the cultures that make it so special are preserved for generations to come.
Yeah.
Thanks for joining us on this deep dive into Gilgit Baltistan.